The Trump administration, and particularly the cryptocurrency policies being led by David Sachs, are well guided. They're exemplary, frankly. And I think David Sachs and his team understand that we need to make America the center of future financial technology innovation, future financial technology, fintech, creativity. And so I think that stuff is happening. And this asset, as I explain in the book, is a store of value. This is a long-term digital store of value.
Right.
And if we're correct about this $88,000 price will go to $888,000.
Wow.
Because that would represent the same market capitalization of gold.
Scaramucci firmly believes that Bitcoin is a long-term digital store of value. He draws a parallel between Bitcoin and other major assets like gold, emphasizing that Bitcoin's current valuation at $88,000 could potentially rise to $888,000 in the coming years. This prediction is based on the asset reaching the market capitalization of gold, which has historically been a cornerstone of financial security. He underscores that investing in Bitcoin today could be akin to investing in Microsoft a decade ago, where investors saw significant returns. While he stops short of offering direct investment advice, Scaramucci outlines compelling reasons why he recommends Bitcoin to his clients, emphasizing its role as a hedge against inflation and economic instability.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
And basically what they're saying is they're not going to use any taxpayer dollars. They're going to make sure that it's cost neutral to the United States. So in other words, if they seize Bitcoin assets as a result of a crime or something like that, it's going to go into the reserve. Could they sell some assets to buy Bitcoin? That is quite possible as well. I think they made it very clear in that communique that the other coins are probably not candidates for the strategic reserve, but they could end up in a sovereign wealth fund situation in the U.S. Michael Grimes, who's been on Wall Street for a very long time, is going to lead the effort to create a sovereign wealth fund for the United States. And maybe there'll be some of those assets in there. But I think that the point is, you're non-productive in some ways, but it would be very valuable to us if the rest of the world accepts Bitcoin as a digital store of value, like we have a strategic reserve in gold. I think it would be very valuable to us to have a strategic reserve in a digital asset like Bitcoin. And again, read the communique. They're going to keep the Bitcoins that they have. They're going to find revenue neutral ways to acquire more Bitcoin, and I think it's splitting the baby quite nicely. And so I don't think it's going to have a big negative impact on anybody. And additional taxpayer dollars are not going into it. But remember, and this is something everybody should know, we have about 27, 28 things in our strategic reserve. It's not just petroleum reserve and a gold reserve. We have palladium, lithium, rare earth minerals. There's medical supplies in our reserve.
Oh, wow.
You know, God forbid that there's another pandemic and things like that. So there's a whole host of things that the U.S. government is warehousing to protect U.S. citizens and the economy. And I'm one of the people that believe that Bitcoin should be part of that. So, you know, some can criticize me, say I'm talking my book, but you said something earlier, which I appreciate, and I appreciate the compliment, that this was a passion project for me. I really do believe in it, and I do want people to understand it, and I do want people to think about having a piece of it in their investment portfolios long term. The Trump administration, and particularly the cryptocurrency policies being led by David Sachs, are well guided. They're exemplary, frankly. And I think David Sachs and his team understand that we need to make America the center of future financial technology innovation, future financial technology, fintech, creativity. And so I think that stuff is happening. And this asset, as I explain in the book, is a store of value. This is a long-term digital store of value.
Right.
And if we're correct about this $88,000 price will go to $888,000.
Wow.
Because that would represent the same market capitalization of gold. And so is that going to happen today? No. Could it happen over a 5 or 10 year period? Yes. And again, if you own Microsoft the last 10 years, you did 10 to 1 on your Microsoft. You did very well. I think this is an asset like that. And I am recommending it to our clients. Can't, I guess, give you investment advice directly, but at least I can explain the reasons why we like it. And I try to do that in the book.
He points out the contradictions in Trump's trade policy. The U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, which Trump himself previously hailed as a landmark trade deal, is now being undermined by newly proposed tariffs. This inconsistency, Scaramucci argues, damages the credibility of U.S. economic diplomacy and creates uncertainty in global markets. Scaramucci concludes by emphasizing the importance of forward-thinking economic and financial policies. He advocates for policies that prioritize technological innovation, strategic economic positioning, and maintaining strong global alliances.
You know, again, I don't want to be overly critical. I just think it's not well thought out. The tariffs are not well thought out. And so tariffs are good, Jay, if you have a market that's being subsidized by another government. So let's say the Chinese government is going to its steel manufacturers and saying, here's extra dough. You'll now be able to price your steel in the U.S. market at predatory pricing, way below where the market should be. And then the United States should say, well, that's unfair to our workers, so we have to have a tariff to create an equalization. So when there's a predatory environment or something happening internationally that's threatening to our workers, then yes, you gotta have a tariff. But a blanket tariff like that is going to stall the automobile manufacturers. If the president goes through a 25% tariff like he's talking about with Canada, the average U.S. automobile will go up by $12,000 US. So you will price that automobile out of the market for a lot of people. So the gentleman that's writing in that asked this question is asking a really, really good question. The market is down on the year now, down 2.5%. It's down since the president got inaugurated. And you would say, well, why is that? He's supposedly pro-business, but tariffs are not. Blanket tariffs like that and arbitrary tariffs like that are not pro-business. And let's be fair to the president for a second. He's saying that he wants these tariffs in place to restore manufacturing. That's what he wants. He wants to restore manufacturing. I'm sorry about that buzzer. No. He wants to restore manufacturing. I don't think that works. We're in a totally different environment now. So market weakens. The president will pull those tariffs. He's pulled some of those tariffs twice now. And he's delayed the tariffs on the automobiles till the 2nd of April. I predict that those probably won't go through. I think he's got a lot of pressure on him right now not to put those tariffs through. So let's see if I'm correct about that. I think he's a hard ass. If I get to say that word on your show, I hope you don't mind. I mean, he's a little bit of a hard ass. So I don't think that that's necessarily that bad thing, particularly with our adversaries, but I don't necessarily see the Mexican government or the Canadian government as our adversaries. Moreover, he himself, Donald J. Trump, negotiated the USMC, the U.S.-Mexican-Canada trade deal. So the trade deal that's in place right now is the one that the first Trump administration negotiated, that Mr. Trump himself, President Trump, hailed that trade agreement as the best trade agreement ever in the world. And so he's going back on that now. And he's ratcheting up tariffs. And I just want to remind people about a few things. And you know this from the oil and gas industry. A lot of our refineries are set up to refine Alberta crude. It's a heavier crude. It gets shipped over by pipeline or by truck. It gets refined here in the United States. If they cut that oil, or that oil becomes too expensive, it's going to hurt the U.S. economy. It will cause inflation. And then, of course, it causes deflation as the economy rolls over and the economic growth slows and we get into a big recession. So I hope those things don't happen. The stock market's telling you that they believe it is going to happen. But listen, you know, one thing about President Trump, he does use the stock market as an arbiter for his success. And so maybe the decline in share prices will influence him not to do what he's saying to people that he wants to do. I'm in the mansion. We're in the homeowners association together, and your house has been set on fire by an arson. And now you're calling me and you're like, hey, can I use your garden hose? I got to get the house to be set off of fire.
Right.
And so I got the garden hose out. I'm helping you. I invite you into my living room. Then I bring the television cameras in and I start bashing you in my living room.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the right thing to do. And I think it sends shockwaves around the world that the United States, who was the beacon of hope and freedom for mankind, and the United States that would reject an aggressor relationship against an ally, and the United States that signed a security agreement with the Ukrainian government in 1994, it's 31 years later, we were dedicated to the principle and the proposition of protecting the Ukraine against Russia, and now the president is siding with Vladimir Putin. I think it's very rough on our European allies.
Wow.
It's obviously rough on the Ukrainian people, and I think it's dangerous. And now, we sent them weaponry. They bought some weaponry, and we've canceled the signal intelligence on the weaponry. So now they don't even have the coordinates now. So missile strikes are hitting civilians in Kiev, and we had anti-missile batteries there to protect those civilians, but President Trump cut the signals intelligence to those people. So people listening in, if you guys think that that's right, somebody write in and explain why you think that that's right. But I don't think that that's right. And also, Ukraine did not start that war.
Right.
President Trump is in the UN voting with North Korea and China to suggest that the Russians were not the aggressor. I don't see how that makes sense. And I think, again, I want to call balls and strikes. There's some things that President Trump is doing that are good.
Yeah.
But those things I think are really bad to us. I just got back from a summit meeting of consultants in Amsterdam. It was a big conference there. There were several NATO representatives there that are really upset about the direction that the United States is taking in terms of the overall security umbrella for the free world.
Wow.
He argues that Bitcoin should be a part of the U.S. strategic financial reserves, much like gold and rare earth minerals, to ensure long-term economic stability. Furthermore, he calls for more nuanced trade policies that balance protectionism with economic growth. Ultimately, Scaramucci's insights highlight the intersection of finance, technology, and geopolitics. His perspective provides valuable guidance for investors and policymakers alike, emphasizing the need to embrace digital assets while maintaining a stable and strategic economic approach. Please like and subscribe.